I've been working full-time as a videographer in the UK for a few years now. I'd say around 80 to 85% of that is weddings, and the rest is commercial and corporate work. A few years ago, my wedding videography company, Place Weddings, really took off, and that's what's allowed me to make this a full-time career. Because weddings make up the majority of my work, it means I can be more selective over commercial and corporate work. Whereas a few years ago, I would have had to take whatever comes my way. I'd say I shoot around 40 to 50 weddings a year, plus a few associate jobs here and there, and obviously commercial and corporate stuff on the side, and that earns me a moderately comfortable salary by UK standards. So how did I make this happen? How did I get to this point in my career? Well, from about as young as 10, I remember being really interested in filmmaking and videography and anything to do with moving image. I remember watching Blue Peter segments on Wallace and Gromit and Hollywood action movies that were coming up and thinking, wow, that's really cool, I want to do something like that. So from then, when I was in school, I was making stop-motion Lego animations, which you can still watch, they are still on YouTube, so feel free to search for them. And then once I finished school, I did film studies and media studies at A-level, and then I went on to university in Bristol and did a filmmaking and creative media degree. However, once I graduated, I really didn't know what to do. I remember applying for all sorts of jobs that had anything to do with the industry I wanted to work in, sending out countless CVs and cover letters and hearing nothing back. It was really disheartening and quite depressing. I remember thinking if I could just show people what I can do rather than tell people what I can do, I'd have a better chance. Now, back when I was in uni on summer holidays, I did shoot a few weddings for friends and did get paid a little bit for it. So I thought I'd try my luck again and see if I could make something with wedding videos or commercial videos, corporate, anything videography related. I remember setting up my first Facebook pages and websites, just trying to entice people to either hire me at low cost for wedding videos or corporate work just to build up a portfolio and build up a reputation. Now, I won't lie, it was really slow at the start. I'd get a couple of jobs here and there, but for the most part I was having to work a retail job just to pay the bills, pay off my overdraft, and stay out of the red. So after about 2 years of working in retail, I had had enough, and I just wanted to focus entirely on my videography work. Now, I had a little bit of money saved up, but I may have been a little bit enthusiastic in leaving my job. At the same time, my dad kindly loaned me some money to buy a GH5. Up until this point, I've been using a Canon 550D, which, as much as I love that camera, it just wasn't up to standard, and the GH5 was a massive game changer. I also formed a company called Phase Drive Media with my uncles and my cousin, and things were looking really good, really exciting. We had a lot of opportunities coming up, and although a lot of them were low pay or no pay at all, it felt like we were getting somewhere and really building up a portfolio and a reputation. At the same time, I'd continued building up my wedding videography with Place Weddings, and the two companies would ultimately make up my income. For a good couple of years, I really pushed both companies, and we were having some minor success, but it was a constant uphill battle. While I wasn't earning a huge amount, it was still more than retail, and my parents were very kind in keeping my rent fairly low so I could continue doing this and building up. As time went on, I got a few opportunities myself, working for a bigger company in Bristol, shooting events, operating big TV cameras, and working on more of a day rate basis rather than getting my own jobs in. I also took on some personal work for some care homes, which really did bring in a bit of income, and that was really helpful during that time. So as things were starting to really build up and it was looking really good, then a certain world event happened and we were all basically told to stay inside. All the work I'd done felt like it just completely stalled. So midway through 2021, after about a year of being on hold, things started to open up again and I was able to get back on track. I'd postponed several weddings and actually had around about 10 or so across summer and autumn, which really helped with my income again. During the lockdown time, I'd also really got to know a lot of other photographers, videographers, and other suppliers that had really built my network, and that was one of the key parts which really helped me grow quite quickly around this time. I'd become good friends with a fellow wedding videographer who lived in the same area as me, and he actually ended up hiring me for a number of associate jobs which really padded out my income. I'd also started taking more work again with the big Bristol-based company shooting events. However, there was one thing which sadly wasn't bringing in the same income, and that unfortunately was Phase Drive Media. Now, it wasn't all bad. We had a YouTube channel which actually was going pretty well, but the rest of it just, for whatever reason, wasn't working. I think ultimately there we just all wanted different things and we couldn't really find a common ground which worked for all of us. So while it did cause some tension between me and family members, ultimately we worked through all that and we wound down the business, and actually I think for the most part things worked out for the best. So towards the end of 2021, my friend who'd hired me for a few associate jobs told me about a bigger wedding company who had a lot more work available. So naturally I said yes to that. Between Place Weddings, some odd bits of commercial work and a load of associate work, I was actually starting to earn a sort of respectable salary. I massively updated the Place Weddings website. I created a new website for Sam Richards and Image, which would cover all my commercial and corporate work, and I was also starting to really up my wedding prices to a more competitive rate. Things were generally really looking up. However, in July 2022, just after I got engaged, the bigger wedding company I was working for collapsed. This was an absolutely massive blow. not only for the couples, but all the associates, not just me, who are working for the company, which was quite a lot of them. Now, I'm going to do another video on that at some point, but for now, all I'll say is that time sucked. It was awful. Fortunately, across the same time, I built a load of good relationships with other suppliers and venues, and they kind of just lifted a lot of us up. So I naturally saw a massive increase in inquiries and bookings, and from there it just kind of snowballed. So with all this increase, at the end of 2022, only a few months after this big wedding company had collapsed, I was able to go full time with Pix Place Weddings, doing a bit of commercial and corporate work on the side. And here we are today. I was fully booked last year, I'm fully booked this year, next year's over 3/4 of the way booked, and 2026 is well on the way as well. I had a pretty rocky journey getting there, and at some point I'll go more in depth about mistakes I made and things I could have done better, but at the end of it all, perseverance really won out. I'm really pleased with the career I have at the moment, and I'm really excited to see what happens next. Going forward, I'm hoping to continue growing my wedding videography business, but I also want to do a bit more of my commercial and corporate stuff, because I love that as well. So I think in the future I'll be looking more at 60 to 70% weddings, and the rest being commercial and corporate work. I've already got some speculative work in the pipeline, so hopefully I'll be able to share that with you in the coming weeks and months. And of course, with this YouTube channel, I'm mostly just doing it for love of doing it. I've always enjoyed doing YouTube, and these sorts of videos, whether they're talking head, whether they're tech videos, or whether they're behind the scenes, I just really enjoyed doing it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was interesting, and maybe it inspired one or two of you. I'm hoping to continue uploading once or twice a month, so do be sure to subscribe with notifications on, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.